Starting a business was the best decision I've ever made in my entire life. I went from being a directionless, broke kid working 3 minimum wage jobs to being able to travel the world whenever I want, make more money than I could ever imagine, all while doing something that I truly love. And while all that seems like I'm living the dream, it's just the tip of the iceberg. Despite now being financially independent and being able to work for myself, this is only a fraction of the entire story, and it's honestly just a small percentage of my time dealing with, excuse my French, all the BS that goes into starting a business alone. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the raw, unfiltered reality of starting a business by yourself, all the misconceptions, harsh realities, and all the lessons that I've learned going from 0 to 5K a month, 5 to 10K, and everything 10K and up. If you're new here, hi, I'm Angelo, and in this channel we talk all about personal finance, entrepreneurship, self-improvement, and all things money. Before we start, I just want to preface that I'm not trying to discourage you from starting your own business. It changed my life, I truly love what I do, and I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. However, there's so many aspects into starting a business by yourself that isn't talked about on social media because it isn't as sexy as flexing pay stubs or Lambos. So I want to give you a more honest and realistic expectation to help you get the best chance of being successful if you're thinking about starting your own business or just beginning to. To give a little background, I started my first business when I was in college, and during this beginning phase, which I call the uphill battle, it almost feels like you're trying to roll a boulder up a hill, like everything is working against you because you're starting off cold and in uncharted territory. You have no idea what you're doing or how you're going to do it or even what to expect, and you're going against the grain. Everyone around you is probably going a more traditional path while you're trying to carve out your own, while also juggling everything else in your life. And it just seems like it's you against the world. This phase is arguably one of the hardest parts of starting a business because of how uncomfortable and uncertain everything feels. And it's where most people tend to give up because they run into the first major problem: zero momentum. Mike Tyson once said, "Success breeds confidence and confidence breeds success." This is especially true in business. However, when you're just starting, you have no confidence or success, therefore you have no momentum. And people nowadays, thanks to social media, think starting a business is easy and happens quickly in a linear path up. However, that can't be further from the truth. Business really looks more like this curve, where you really see any results in the beginning until much later on, where you really start to see the momentum and fruits of your labor really build up. That's why a lot of people fall off during this phase, because they expect fast and clear results, while in reality, business is about delayed gratification, especially in the beginning. It's gonna feel like you're pouring all this energy, your heart and soul for nothing. You're gonna have to put in 10 times the effort, 10 times the amount of time without seeing any results until you get that first sale, first subscriber, and you really start to build that initial momentum and proof of concept. And the reason why building that initial momentum is especially hard and takes so much time is because you have another problem: the skill issue. You have no experience or skills in anything. Think about it like a video game. You're starting at level 1, no skills, no gear, no nothing. And this is where most people are misled because their favorite online guru tells them that they only need to learn a high income skill to start a business, learn copywriting, learn dropshipping, and all that BS. However, business is not just one skill that you have to master to be successful. It's a collection of many different skills that you need to be individually good at in order for the business to run smoothly. You need to know sales, customer support, marketing, advertising, copywriting, accounting, product validation, tech support, and not to mention all the softer skills like communication, problem solving, time management, leadership. Think of a business like a car. All the other different skill sets that you need are the engines, the steering wheels, the lights, the brakes, everything you basically need in order for the car to keep running. Jay-Z, the famous rapper, once said, "I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman." It's not just about building a successful business, it's about being the type of person to build a successful business. And to do so, you need to be a jack of all trades, and it's especially hard because you need to learn all these different types of skills, and you can really only learn and gain that experience through 2 different ways: trials and tribulations, and just a shit ton of research. But once you gain that initial momentum, start dialing your skill sets, all that stress and work becomes worth it, and you come across another problem, which I call the business high. There's a Greek mythology about a girl named Pandora who was given a box by the gods but was never told to open it. Curiosity got the better of her, and when she caved in, she opened the box, releasing all the evil spirits of the world: pain, suffering, and all that good stuff. Once released, there was no way to reverse it and put it back in, forever changing the world. That's what it's like to get your first taste of business success. There's no going back. Immediately, you start to view the world a little bit differently, and now you start to realize all the possibilities and opportunities that are available to you. Now, I know that sounds like a good thing, which it is. Success is what we want, but it is a double-edged sword that does affect you negatively in many ways that people don't talk about. Since this is your first taste of entrepreneurial success, the dopamine rush is almost too powerful and you start to get addicted to it. I remember when I made my first sale and had my first taste of business success. I didn't even make that much money, but the euphoria I felt was insane. I was stuck refreshing my Amazon screen like every 5 seconds just because I love seeing the numbers go up. And every time I got a sale, a little bit of dopamine hit my brain, making my emotions very dependent on whether or not my business was making money or not. So when I was making sales, I was on the top of the world. And when I wasn't, I was a complete wreck. It was just a really dark time in my life because I attached my value, my self-worth to my business. And surprise, surprise, most businesses are very volatile. They operate in cycles. 1 month you could be killing it, and the next few months could be in a drought and you can make no money whatsoever. So that's why if you let yourself get addicted to success, you set yourself up for withdrawals when that pendulum inevitably swings the other way. On a brighter note, let's talk about some solutions for these problems. Number 1, forget getting rich quick. It's just not gonna happen. Success takes time, and the longer you hold on to this fantasy of instant wealth, the harder you're making this whole entire process for yourself. Number 2, you need to embrace failure. Accept where you're at in your journey and know that you're going to make a bunch of mistakes. It's okay. It's a part of the process. But each mistake doesn't have to be a loss. Each mistake is a lesson that brings you much closer to your goals. Number 3, stand on the shoulders of giants. There are literally millions of books and YouTube videos out there about successful entrepreneurs and the exact steps that they took. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. Learn from their mistakes and copy their successes. Number 4, focus on effort. If the only metric you base your progress and self-worth is money, then you're setting yourself up for failure. Instead, focus on the work you put in and just try to get 1% better. You really just gotta let go of what you can control and just focus on what you can control, which is yourself. Now that you're making money, you got something going on, and you pass that 5K benchmark, you start to enter the next phase, which I call the heavy crown. In this phase, you made it. You're making money and you have somewhat of a business. However, this is where you really start to feel the weight and the gravity of running an entire business alone. This name comes from one of my favorite Shakespeare quotes, "Heavy is the head who wears the crown." Despite the power and privileges that comes with being king, the role comes with the burden of responsibility and the weight of making decisions that impact the entire kingdom. That is what having a business is like. Yeah, it's cool. You make money, you can work for yourself, but now every single problem is your fault alone and your responsibility alone. It's on you to keep this machine running, and the responsibility really starts to weigh down on you, which brings the first problem of this phase, the cognitive bandwidth. The very freedom that you first wanted from starting a business starts to imprison you in endless decisions and responsibilities that quickly overwhelm you. In many ways, your brain is like a computer. If your laptop or phone has a lot of apps and windows open, it performs less well, and your brain is like that. When you're at the stage and you have a business to run, there are an unlimited amount of things that you need to do and can do, not to mention a never-ending pile of problems that you alone have to fix. So there are 3 main cognitive biases that happen when your brain starts to overload. The first one is analysis paralysis, where you're overwhelmed by overanalyzing a situation so much that you're unable to make any decision at all. So now that you have a business and you have something to lose, making any risky decision instantly becomes 10 times harder. And if you're anything like me, you're a perfectionist and want to do the best job possible the first time, every time. However, no one is perfect, and trying to be just makes you not get anything done. The second one is choice overload, where similar to analysis paralysis, the abundance of choices overwhelm you and you end up just burning out and doing nothing. And finally, and the most important, decision fatigue. This is where the quality of decisions worsens the more decisions you have to make. When you run a business alone, you aren't just the CEO. You're the CMO, CFO, public relations, customer support, everything. So every decision that you have to make, no matter how big or how small, really starts to weigh down on you. And at the end of the day, your brain just gets fried. So having to hold the entire weight of a business that you yourself created can be a really heavy burden, especially if you're doing it alone, which leads to the second problem in this phase, the entrepreneurial trap. When I first started my business, my main goal was to escape working a 9-to-5. However, little did I know, running a business isn't just a 9-to-5, it's a 24/7. There is no clocking out. Since you're the one making all the decisions, you're the one solving all the problems. And this never-ending pile of tasks really starts to trap you as an employee in your business rather than being the business owner, because you're stuck doing all the day-to-day stuff. You have no time to work on other projects or any big picture stuff because you're stuck working in your business rather than on your business. And although all that sounds terrible, which it is, many small business owners actually choose to suffer through it due to the third problem, the lone warrior. I'm sure you heard this quote before: if you want to go fast, do it alone, but if you want to go far, go together. Many entrepreneurs choose to handle everything by themselves because frankly, it's just hard to let go and trust someone else to run your business. Me personally, my business is my baby. It's a living, breathing thing that I took care of and am responsible for, and I put my blood, sweat, and tears in. So it was, and still is, really hard to let someone else take control for a change, especially since I've been in control the entire time. However, this inability to delegate and create a team makes maintaining and growing a business so much harder than it really needs to be. If you're stuck doing just the day-to-day, you have no space to think and no time to work on new projects. And not to mention, it's very lonely. Being an entrepreneur means that most times it's just going to be you versus the world. Not everyone's trying to run a business, so there's not many people that can relate to your problem. And of course, if you don't ask for help and if you're doing anything by yourself, it is you against the world. So what are some solutions for these problems in this phase? Number one, get really organized and start to build systems and automations within your business. You need to eliminate and lessen the amount of brain and mental power it takes you to complete your tasks. If you're having to think, what do I need to do today? Or how do I do this? Every single time, you're just adding more steps in your day that will wear you out. At this point, you have something going on for yourself. You have a business that's generating money. But now your business needs to be a well-oiled machine. Your workflow needs to be optimized, your schedule needs to be optimized, and you really want to start to get rid of any non-important decision-making or tasks that you can to focus on what really matters in your business and your life. You can do anything you want, but you just can't do everything, so you need to pick and choose your battles. Number three, build a team and start to outsource your tasks that you don't have to do. This team will free up your time and mental energy so you can focus on the next big steps. First, just write out tasks that you don't want to do yourself and start looking online for people to hire. Onlinejobs.ph, Upwork, these are really good affordable options to hire overseas. And there are a lot of really good talent out there, you'd be surprised. Also, it's super important to network and meet others who are in a similar boat or have gone through what you're going through right now. If you're meeting all these people, you can learn from their mistakes, but it also just makes the whole process a little less lonely and a little more enjoyable. We, at the end of the day, are social creatures, and the more like-minded people we meet, the less lonely this journey is going to be. So now that we're in the next phase, you officially made out of the hood, you hit the infamous 10K per month benchmark. Now the problems evolve once more and turn to something a little more deeper, with starting with number one, the ego. Ryan Holiday, author of Ego is the Enemy, defines ego as an unhealthy belief of your own importance. Once you hit a certain point of revenue, like 10K per month, it gets real easy to think that you're the shit and let success go to your head. When my business first started to make some real money, I did exactly that. I believed that I was so smart and didn't need anyone's help that I lied to my parents and I dropped out of school because in my head, if I was making more money than my teachers, then what's the point? Even worse, since I believed that I had everything figured out, I started to get really comfortable and stopped trying to improve and learn new things. So my business grew stagnant and my personal and self-improvement development really started to reverse. I was sliding backwards. This problem makes it really hard to learn new skills and improve on yourself, which is still heavily needed. Just because you're making 10K a month doesn't mean you need to stop improving yourself, because newer problems such as the leadership gap will arise. Now that you built a team and you removed yourself further from the day-to-day, your role as an entrepreneur changes into more of like a captain of a ship. Now that you have people working under you, it's your responsibility to provide a workplace environment that not only your team enjoys, but also has a sense of fulfillment and growth. That's why having good communication and leadership skills is so important. These people are not just robots to do your bidding just like that. They are human beings that are helping you build your dream business. So they need to be trained and well cared for so they give you the best quality of work and that they actually enjoy being on your team. So you need to foster these relationships and become the leader that people want to work with, which is easier said than done. It takes a lot of trials and tribulations and of course, a lot of self-reflection to be able to learn these skills. And lastly, the final problem is struggling to have a good work-life balance. In the beginning, however, there is no such thing as work-life balance. You gotta do what you gotta do in order to succeed and get that initial momentum. So you have to put in the hours and grind because you're just trading your time and energy for money because that's all you have. However, now that you have a legit business, it's in your best interest and the business best interest that you're happy and you have a clear head. And that is achieved through having a really good balance between your work and personal life. Because if your business is super successful, but you're dreading life and you're miserable, how much longer do you really think you'll last? And what are we doing this for? I'm not starting a business so I can be miserable all my life. I'm doing this so I can be happy, so I can be free. You are the captain of the ship. Your people look up to you. So you have to work hard on yourself and let yourself rest and recharge so you don't go insane. When you're at the stage and you have some sort of a self-sufficient business running, half of the game now just becomes make sure you don't go crazy because you put in the work, you built the infrastructure, you have a team, and now you just need to not burn out and not give up. So here are some solutions that work for me while in this later stage. Number one, prioritize self-awareness. You want to reflect daily and reconnect with your why. If your why is weak, like if you just want to make money, then obviously whenever shit hits the fan, you're just going to give up. And again, you want to be networking and surrounding yourself with people who are more successful than you. These people are really going to show you what's possible and push you to be a better version of yourself. And number two, keep your childhood curiosity alive and Keep that student mindset. Continue to learn, ask help from everyone, and learn something from everyone. Never think that you're better than anyone else or that you can't learn anything from anyone else. You can learn anything from anyone. So you got to have an open mind. With that being said, you should never stop investing in yourself. Buy those books, buy those courses, go to those coaching events. Keep reinvesting into yourself because you're the X factor, right? It's your business. You're the captain of the ship. So you have to really hone in and dial in yourself as an individual for your business. And number 3, study leadership. Leadership skills and knowing how to be a good communicator and resolve conflict is one of the most important skills in running a business ever, period. I wish I knew that because I would have paid attention to all my classes, because knowing how to really communicate and inspire a team is so important because these people are your ride or dies. These people are helping you build your dream life. So if you can't foster a good workplace environment and your employees hate working for you, then your business is never gonna be as good as it really could be if you inspire your employees, if you have these relationships and you're good at communicating. And number 4, work smarter, not harder. Grinding 16 hours a day might be necessary in the beginning, but now that you have more experience, you have a lot more capital, you can really start to leverage everything. Treat your work like how an athlete trains. Sprint, rest, reassess, and then sprint again. This will make sure that your head is clear and you're thinking clearly and you're actually happy to run your business and that you don't give up and you just randomly burn out. So set boundaries, pursue your passions, and remember to enjoy your life. Remember, the goal isn't to work forever. The goal is to create a business so you can work whenever you want, however you want, wherever you want. And that wraps up today's videos. If you enjoyed, please hit the subscribe and like button. It means the world to me. I'll also leave a link to a video if you're interested to see what business that I run. And of course, till next time.